Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. This is Fire and Bloom, a House of the Dragon podcast presented by Penny Bloom Pod. This is episode 255 of the podcast. 255 of them. That's a lot of podcasts. And we're here to talk House of the Dragon, episode 3, titled Second of His Name. Oh, man, buddy. This was another good fucking addition to this show. Like,
every week.
Oh.
We're not disappointed. Ever. It's never disappointing.
I can't fathom how you might be, you know? I simply can't. I simply won't. All I know is that this shit has been hitting on every level. This was another great addition and another great thematic one-shot story in an episode, lending itself to the greater narrative over the course of the show. And, I mean, I'm always I was still, nothing in this episode left me surprised necessarily. You know, I think that like the next on last week was pretty revealing, and I'm okay with that because it did get me the chance to kind of prepare myself to be like, oh, so we are 3 years later. Oh, so we are like, we've made a big jump here. It's nothing surprised me, but by the end, I was still left with my jaw on the floor.
Yeah, there was not really a single brain blast or mega twist that was like, wah, but it was just a great, just closed story, just about a hunt, you know, just a little hunt,
little old hunt.
And even if you know nothing of Game of Thrones, or like, you know, like it's kind of the whole time I'm thinking of like how, you know, Robert Baratheon went on a hunt, and this is like what eventually killed him. You know, like this is what killed Robert Baratheon.
Well, I'm preparing myself at all turns for Viserys to die. There were a couple, and they did that shit on purpose. You know, they had him. They know what guzzling the wine. They had him stumbling about. You knew they were going for that. And I think Robert Baratheon was around the third or fourth episode. I think it was the fourth that he got. But like, so like it was quick.
Wow.
You know, like
it's really that fast.
It was very early. It was very early. I think
I really thought, but yeah, that was the suspicion the whole time during this episode. I'm like, man, is he really dying like this early? But I mean, what the story actually ended up turning into was I'm very glad.
Brilliant.
With what we got.
But are you maybe ready for a scene by scene breakdown here, my friend?
You know, I think I am ready.
Bitch, I might be. Bitch, I might be. All right, so I say we get into Second of His Name, the third installment of House of the Dragon. Let's get it. So, we open on a ship being burnt at night. Very, very, very dark, very grim, only lit by fire, which is glorious when it comes to this episode. A lot of only lit by fire scenes, which is very cool. And we get a nice scream. House Velaryon is coming for you. As his masked attacker nails him to a post. Just bop, bop, bop. It does not look pretty for the boy.
No.
And
I was eating some pretzels at the beginning of this episode, you know?
Never a good choice.
Yeah, you know, it's I'm like, Game of Thrones just starting, I'm like, let me grab a snack, and then I'm like, wait, I kind of forget what show I'm watching here.
The spirit of Sunday night TV makes you feel like I should be able to, maybe pop some popcorn, maybe grab a handful of pretzels, fill a little bowl. But then the episode kicks off and you watch a crab crawl into a guy's mouth, and you're like, oh, you know what? Maybe this isn't the show I eat during. It's become something me and Emily are much more weary of.
Dinner that night, my mother decides to make crab legs for herself.
Oh.
A thing she will treat herself to once every 2-3 years, it seems, It's never. And of course, the night of, I sit down and I'm just like, I see these crabs, I don't know. And then I see the opening of the show, and for some reason the pretzels related to dinner, I don't in my brain, and I just had to put them away, and that's okay. That's okay. I mean, the one time she legitimately got crab legs, and
that's unbelievable. The coincidence. I mean, it's palpable. It's palpable
that I'm home for Labor Day week. I was only home this weekend just because of the week, and because of the break, and she decides to treat herself to some crab legs. So, I mean, maybe she's watching House of the Dragon on the low key, and she knows exactly what she's doing.
Yeah, she's like, I'm a fuck with Joe big time here. I'm a feed him crabs. But
they were good though. They were good.
No, I bet they were. Fuck, that's one of the things I miss the most. As a vegetarian, I'm iffy on seafood, like I feel like I should be comfortable kind of going at that, but I just never am. I always end up going, I'm okay, but I have a goddamn crab legs, lobster, but nevertheless, we got like 2 sentences into this breakdown. The the attacker is one that we've glimpsed before. Last episode, he's got the mask melded to his face. He's what we call the crab feeder. And he unleashes many a crustacean upon this man's body for him to, get ate by the crabs. He's feeding the crabs, hence his name, the moniker, his namesake. But then a dragon swoops on in, just fucking flaming these hoes. And when I saw this, I was like, God damn, we episode 3. You know how long it was before we saw this type of dragon action in Game of Thrones?
Multiple seasons.
We spoiled.
Yeah. This is on at the beginning of the episode. Already dragon fire. Already people just getting lit up. This is like, it's going to be commonplace. It feels like. Yes. It feels like just dragons are just, yep, they're here. They got them. They might as well use them.
And they're here to fuck shit up. Yeah, it was really exciting to see, and it is Caraxes. And I got to say, Caraxes is a weird looking motherfucker, huh?
Yeah. I thought it was just me. For a second there, I'm like, wait a minute, they don't all look like this.
No,
right?
they don't. Like, he is particularly misshapen, skinty, very, very skinny. He long neck compared to a pretty normal neck for the rest of the beasts. His torso and stomach are fucking a twig, and his wings come out in a really weird way. Like whenever you look at him and go, he looks different, you're not wrong. Like he especially when Sea Smoke comes in later in this episode, it reassured me like, oh yeah, like that's what a normal looking dragon is to me, Sea Smoke. And then Caraxes comes in with his long neck all fucking swerving around and shit, and I'm like, ooh.
I guess maybe he's just like a pure battle dragon, That's why he's just with Daemon.
Maybe he's like the fastest, built for speed or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, he mimics his rider. I feel like every dragon kind of mimics their rider, whether it's known who they're gonna ride, whether they were born with them. I guess they were born with them.
Well, not
if
born
it is
with
Targaryen,
them necessarily,
but like the egg was placed in and then
the cradle,
as that kid grew up, they probably have some, play dates early on when they're little babies, and then they're like, all right, get on, little Aegon, and have the little dragon flop around a couple times, or I don't know. Looks like they grew up together.
Really take him for a ride. That'd be kind of fun.
And Matt Smith is one weird looking dude, kind of, you know. So I mean, it makes sense that their dragons kind of look, you know.
True.
I don't know, Damon.
I see it. He's not like I'll say this for Matt Smith. This is the most attractive he's ever looked, which is saying something.
I only know him as Morbius' secondary character. That's all. I don't even remember what his name was in the movie. It's Milo. Yeah, Milo and Morbius. It's the only thing I see in him. I can't unsee it, and it won't be unseen until he just does well enough in this role for him to become.
Oh man, and this episode wasn't that for you yet?
Well, I think it's just going to take time.
Yeah, I see.
Because you haven't seen Morbius.
No,
you don't understand how ingrained in your brain it is once you have seen it a singular time.
I mean, it was Morbin time.
Can you imagine that Jared Leto is never going to be seen as anyone else ever again? There's no hope for Jared Leto. For Matt Smith, there's hope with Damon here.
Damon Targaryen is Matt Smith's saving grace, and he's playing the fuck out of this role. Like it's going.
I will say.
Want me to fuck your head up a little bit? I don't know if you realize this. He didn't speak a line this week.
Wow. He actually didn't.
He did not have a single word of dialogue. And he was on screen almost half the time. A little less than half the time. But
oh my god, yeah, even when he went back to all the what's the last
the Valarian?
name? Huh?
The Valarians?
Valarian, yeah. Whenever he went back to all of them, I forgot. He just kind of walked up, just was kind of standing there, got the little letter from the squire, and whop, 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 white flag, there you go. You know, I forgot that's kind of how.
Never spoke a word. Yeah, he fucked this episode up. Like it's nuts. It's nuts. But we'll get more to. We'll for sure get more to him here before long. But as the dragon flies overhead, the man who was getting fed to the crabs is very excited. Hurrah, Prince Damon! Praise be Prince Damon! All hail, Prince Damon! This is our savior, the man who will take us to the promised land. Oh, Damon, save me! Save me! Crushed under the paw of Caraxes.
In a way, probably saved him. Because he was already, already nailed up. You've already been nibbling on. You've been through battle.
I'm like, hey, man, I'm sorry, G. Ain't no fucking way you thought Daemon Targaryen gave a fuck about you.
Nah. If I'm gonna go, rather be eaten by crabs or stomped by dragon, fuck. Come on. I mean, if that's how I went, okay. It's instant. There's no way he lived for more than a millisecond afterwards. Yeah, a dragon was on top.
Crushed.
Yeah, if I was in the afterlife and people are like, hey, how'd you go?
Stomped on by Caraxes.
Yeah, the literal dragon. Yeah. Yeah, how'd you go? Oh, you fell and you tripped down a hill and you hit your head on a rock?
Pussy.
Sorry. Yeah,
what,
sorry.
I'm stomped on. No, but yeah, this shit went nuts. It was kind of nuts. The beast lands on him and just keeps going on. You know, Daemon piloting the dragon. Men scatter in fear, trying not to get, burnt alive. And way we see that dude just get flamed, and it doesn't hit the bottom half of his leg, so his leg stays there, and everything else is just incinerated. I was like, oh.
Did not realize the power behind. I knew it set things on fire, but he was immediately gone. He's gone.
Infinity War dusted. In fact, faster than an Infinity War dusting.
Yeah. Yeah. Spider-Man felt it coming. This guy felt a little bit of heat and then existed no longer.
Yeah, he was gone forever. No Hulk snapping you back from that one. But yeah, this shit was epic. Daemon taunts the crab feeder, calls him Drehar. Drehar. It's an interesting name. I wonder what it implies a history between Daemon and the crab feeder. It has been 2.5-year war they've been fighting. Potentially he's come to know him by his actual name via this war. But Drahar, doesn't that sound...
Targaryen?
Yeah, but I was like, even more
It
so
has the
Westeros.
AE in it, right?
No AE.
Oh, no Dre.
Drahar.
Okay, then not Targaryen. Never mind. Doesn't have the AE. Doesn't count.
Vagar
But what were you
doesn't
gonna
have
say?
Vagar doesn't have the AE. Vhagar.
Fair. I guess I'm really only thinking Daenerys,
Aegon,
Rhaenyra,
Rhaenyra, Daemon.
I guess a lot of them do. I guess Viserys doesn't.
True. Regardless,
So,
no, I don't think Drahar. I don't necessarily think Drahar's a Targaryen, but I don't know. It'd be kind of a nuts twist that maybe he's a cousin's kid somewhere off in the distance. But Drahar, yeah, I was like, I'll keep my ear out for that in the future. A little bit more Drahar reference.
Was about to Google, but I feel like
I don't Google shit with this show, man.
I'm not going to. Yeah, with this show, there's a book. I don't want to know.
But doesn't he call Drahar out for his whore mother and bastard father?
That is true. He does call him out for that. I guess he did have some lines. Only to the crab feeder, though.
Yeah. Lines
and
they,
yeah, interesting. I wonder if it's not someone that we're supposed to be like, oh, this is boom. It's not supposed to be like a...
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not.
I guess who's he fighting for? What's the...
Crab feeder?
Yeah.
I'm under the impression this isn't so random. I think it's probably houses of Westeros trying to stir chaos for the Targaryen seat of power. I would probably likely look at like the Baratheons or the Starks. I could see them being like, yeah, we can't keep doing this. You know, they seemed the most unhappy about the Rhaenyra rule, potentially. So that's kind of like, I felt like it was like an outsourcing of like, destabilize this shit. I don't think they're just randomly targeting a crucial shipping lane to the Velaryons. You know what I'm saying? Like the most wealthy house.
But we don't know who is behind it.
Yeah,
like,
not necessarily.
It's not known. Okay. Because they were mentioning of like the free cities and stuff like that, right? That's not the same place. That was like a different conflict, and they were like, "Oh, no one interferes with the free cities." Or
no,
is that
this is the free cities. That's where they are. This is where they're fighting.
Okay. So the free cities, they were just chilling. This crab feeder guy comes up and just starts just murking everyone at that port.
To my understanding, the free cities probably operate as a crucial part of the shipping process for the goods via the Velaryon shipping lanes. Now, I don't know what part of the process that is or anything. All I know is that the crab feeder and his gang of hoodlums really fucked that shit up.
That they did.
2.5 years worth of fucking it up.
That's why I wonder, like, if the history between him and Daemon is something more. Because, like, at the beginning of the show, we don't know what Daemon's been doing. He's, like, never around. And he's always off doing stuff, you know? So,
gallivanting.
Like, if he's been the one, like, that started this all along, and I don't know. Obviously, the crab feeder he's not on Daemon's side. He wouldn't accept to him just getting brutally murdered.
No, I have the feeling not.
So, but I wonder if like that, I don't know, if there is some history with them and he has been going off for 2 years, like, is that the history? Just that 2 years, you know, that we haven't really seen, or is there stuff like previous before he was?
There could be more. There could be more. You know what's still lingering in the wind too is I think it was Vagar was the name of the dragon that's supposedly lost, as mentioned by little Lena Valerian last week when she was talking to Viserys. Like, don't you know? Is he really lost? Like, he's said to be nesting somewhere. Who knows? Maybe further connections between a lost rider and a lost dragon, not just one or the other.
Second of his name. That's the episode title. Is it
Aegon?
So it is just Aegon. This is Aegon the Second. This is the first Aegon. I guess it's his grandfather.
His
great grandfather.
It would be Viserys' grandpa, I think. Viserys' grandpa and Aegon's great grandpa.
Great. Okay, so actually not that far removed.
Not too far off. Yeah, because I think Jaehaerys was the son of Aegon and his sister wife.
Yeah, and what's Jon? Jon is Aegon the ninth.
Wait, no. Jaehaerys is Viserys' grandpa. Viserys' great grandpa is Aegon, and this is Aegon the Second's great grandpa was Aegon the Conqueror.
Oh wow! So it took him that long to name another kid Aegon. I feel like with kings that is like I don't know. I just
yeah, you're like
for some reason I thought this would already have been like Aegon the third or fourth by now.
Well, I think they're pretty heavy Aegon after this. If I remember correctly, I think
that's true.
I think Aegon Jon Snow is the seventh of his name.
Seventh of his name. That sounds right.
It's either sixth or seventh, but regardless, we flash to King's Landing, and we're roughly 3 years after the events of the previous episode. Viserys and Alicent already have a son, Aegon II, as we've been deliberating over, and she's pregnant with another kid. So big jump here. I was like, you know what? I was kind of glad we got all that in the last week's Next On, because I would have been like, yo, what?
The implied history here is just like Rhaenyra has just been going through 2 years of seeing her best friend give birth to one, her brother, her likely replacement, and two, be pregnant with another.
Also,
God.
Not to mention that there's a mention later in the episode when they're in the little carriage where Alicent comments on how smooth of a pregnancy and how easy of a birth it was. And everyone kind of looks around like, are you fucking for real right now? Like, you can't say that in front of Rhaenyra right here. Like, you got to watch it a little bit. And I wasn't fucking with it. I was like, oh no, Alicent, don't, please. You're starting to sound a little bit too much like Otto on your own.
Dude, is that where the hate is coming from? Is it true,
Yeah,
that this blind hate wasn't really blind? What if she realizes, why do I need my father? I'm the queen. It feels like it just hasn't clicked yet in her, but she's beginning to.
She's still holding on a little bit, though. There are moments in this episode where she defends Rhaenyra and kind of looks out for Rhaenyra. It is Otto who sways her to go convince the king that he needs to change his mind about this.
True.
And she can't go through with it. She's not her dad's level of manipulative yet. She manages to go well, she actually fights in Rhaenyra's favor still, even so. Well, she can get married as long as she thinks it's up to her. which was a little bit of an interesting wording as well. Like, she thinks it's up to her. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, Allison. Nevertheless, yeah, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about her potential storyline going forward. However, I still don't think she's taken the full leap into antagonist territory. I think she's kind of straddling a line, trying to figure out her allegiances for sure. Ultimately, though, she do got a son.
Yeah, they do. I mean, Viserys' mind is set.
That just makes me go, well, he's going to die and none of that's going to matter.
Yeah. You know, and even if he is 100, even because it doesn't even seem that he's 100% set. He's saying that he is, and like he said it straight to Rhaenyra's face, and then seconds later couldn't even be like, I don't even know if what I said was true there. Like, he's already second guessing himself.
Mm.
It doesn't matter though. Like, if he is 100% set that she is the next heir, he dies. It doesn't matter. Like,
everyone will throw their claims in.
There is going to be a war for that seat. Like, that's what the show is, you know? Like, they're not going to just be like, yep, peaceful transition of power. Here's Rhaenyra just leading everything, and it's perfect. Like, we're getting a war. And
hey, man, we'll see. I think it'll be a while before the descent really like.
We got seasons.
We got seasons ahead of us, which is so exciting. So exciting. I'm already like, God, I love this show. But
episode 3 of 10.
Nevertheless, we push forth. There's news of the crab feeder's dominance. That's arriving to Viserys at Aegon's second birthday, and Viserys is like, dude, really? That's a bummer, bro. Like, I'm trying to celebrate my son's birthday, and you're telling me that, like, there's a war happening, and it's getting out of hand. Dude.
What could be more important than my baby's second birthday?
My baby has second birthday today, dude.
My birthday went around the sun for the second time today, so
second time forever.
You can be quiet.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, dude. Yeah, he's not interested about how Daemon's forces are, starting to be like, I don't know, maybe Daemon ain't all that. Maybe we need to figure some other shit out, and how it's probably a good time for the crown to step in. And it is said to him, Daemon and the Sea Snake started their war without his grace's leave. Were he to intervene now, after so long, it would make the crown appear weak. Otto Hightower says, and Viserys is like, yeah, but where's Rhaenyra? I don't give a shit about any of this. Somebody tell me where Rhaenyra at. And Alicent finds her out under the weirwood tree. I referred to this as the God's Wood a couple weeks back because that's what they called it in Winterfell. It was a weirwood tree out in the God's Wood. That's what it was back in Game of Thrones.
Well, I thought they were called the God's Wood until just right now.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Weirwood trees, faces and shit. But yeah, she's reading and she's listening to a song. The song felt
a little
on the nose. Yeah, and the fact that she's like, I want that song again, motherfucker. Keep singing that shit.
Oh, she's here, and she's here. Oh, you can keep singing.
No,
I didn't tell you to stop.
I'm not going to sit up. You're not my mom. But nevertheless, it doesn't seem that they're on the best of terms, obviously, and I wouldn't expect them to be. Alicent, it seems, wishes they were still on better terms, but Rhaenyra's like, hey man, fuck you. I don't give a shit. You screwed me over. You betrayed me. I'm done. And she instructs her that she is supposed to be there for the celebratory hunt that she is commanded to do. And it's like, okay, fine. Do you command it, or does my father command it? Your father, His Grace commands it. Okay, then fine, sure, I'll do it. I loved that shit. That was cute. But she only joins the hunt in the Kingswood because she's commanded to do so, and she's frosty, to say the least, to her father when he tries to draw her out. Yeah, I think maybe he should have just been like, "Hey, Rhaenyra, I'm gonna be honest with you. I intend to marry Alicent Hightower. I won't spring this information upon you in front of all the other lords. Feels wrong. Feels right to just be straightforward with you about this. Because I'm not even going to lie to you. That episode doesn't even make it clear that Alicent knew before that moment.
I don't think it kind of felt like she didn't. I don't know. No, I think her reaction was mainly just towards Rhaenyra.
Yeah, like
and that was, I think she.
Well, she knew she was there. Odds are Otto was like, "Hey, good news. You did it." But
Damn.
yeah, it's rough out here. But as Rhaenyra is walking through the festivities, she catches the eye of a man who formally introduced himself as Lord Jason Lannister. And she's like, yeah, I saw the lines, fuckboy. What's up? And again, I was hoping that the Lannisters might be a little kinder, removed from power a bit more, but nah, they're still the rich assholes they've always been. In fact, now it's even more pathetic because all they have is money and hardly a seat of power. They just got some decent land. That's kind of what they got going on.
I really want to see Castle Rock though,
because it sounds a lot harder than it was in Game of Thrones. Like the way they built that shit up here sounds a lot cooler than the Casterly Rock
you
we
sit
saw.
on top of whatever.
Said to be taller than the wall?
Yeah. What is that about? No way. Right?
That's the Lannisters hyping themselves up.
Like there's
that man has never seen the wall.
Exactly. It has to be that way. It's like you don't believe the wall is really real until you are at the wall. There's zero chance man has made a thing half that tall.
Yeah.
Even. Like I know,
yeah. And it required magic to build the fucking wall, so like the Lannisters ain't got that. They ain't got it on them like that. But yeah, he brings up how Jason Lannister here. He brings up how I could build a dragon pit. She's like, "Excuse me, why the fuck would you do that, sir? Do you have dragons?" And he goes, "I'd do anything for my queen or lady wife."
What a pickup line to immediately be like, "My wife."
My wife.
I guess that's how lords did it back then. It was like whenever you were just in a seat of power and it made sense for your marriage, it was just your way of being like, well, if you want to do it, we can do it.
Homie walked up,
is that like
homie
how,
walked up to her and was like, "Hey, I intend to have a great time with you. How do you like your eggs?" I feel like that's kind of the energy he was coming with, and I feel like it was met with the exact energy it needed to be met with, because Rhaenyra ain't having it.
Thanks for the wine.
Yeah, deuces, fuckboy. And he tosses this wine, the finest delicacy that they have to offer, and he's just like, "Yeah, fuck it." Another just little insight to how much of a rich, spoiled brat this man is.
And Rhaenyra, even when she tasted, she was kind of like,
"Yeah, this
really?
ain't it.
This is your finest." I guess she has like the finest, probably
from everywhere in the Seven Kingdoms. Like,
so, damn. Lannisters are really just all talk. I guess they got the wallet, but like, they're just like they just hype themselves.
They just
up.
happen to be sitting on a gold mine because the fucking Castameres, they really fumbled the bag.
And who are you? Oh, the proud. Look, that song is ingrained in my brain. The Reigns of Castamere. I'll never be able to forget it. Now that you're removed from it a little bit more, which one was more difficult to watch? The Red Wedding or
The horrific birthing
Honestly,
scene.
I want to call it like the red. Like what's it?
The red.
I feel like it deserves a name.
The red birth.
Like bed battlefield. I'm trying to have it like relate to the episode in some way, where like the battlefield is, this is our battlefield.
Yeah.
I don't know, or like somehow it relates. But whatever, that scene. You know what scene I'm talking about?
Course.
That scene or
No.
Red Wedding. Which one was more?
So
difficult to watch?
that aesthetically and idyllically is harder to watch. It is the attachment to the characters and stuff that makes the Red Wedding so hard. It is not the.
Thank you.
It is not the actual actions taken. I don't think.
Like, yes, a pregnant woman does get, like shivved. And it is like it's still not easy to watch.
No,
things like the literal
You've picked
things.
two of the hardest scenes there are to watch.
But it is the attachment that scene that is.
And there's
like,
so much
whole...
there too. There's the fact that they've gotten married. They're having a kid. They're flying high. They're about to march down south and stop the Lannisters. Like this is their time.
And we're hype. The King of the North. The King of the North. We're behind this.
Yeah.
We are like shouting with them.
And the army just gets chopped off at the knees, and that's just that. They're like, it's never a shot after that. So it's just a lot of circumstance there that makes that truly, truly hard to watch. This was hard to watch all on its own. Like it's a nightmare because, and there's also the fact that Emma Best was just a fucking brilliant actor. I think her name was Emma Best. I think I'm getting that right. Maybe I'm mixing up a couple characters there. However, because I want to say that might be Eve Best is Rhaenys.
Eve is Rhaenys.
Yeah.
Yes.
So who was?
Eve.
Let's see.
Is she even listed?
She would be in episode 1.
I am on episode 1.
Oh no. Oh, Sion Brooke. She looks nothing like a Targaryen in her IMDb photo. That's just kind of the hang up here.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah. Queen Emma Arryn. Yeah, she killed that shit.
But
she was incredible.
Yeah.
Any hoozle. Yeah, that shit was tough. Regardless, in her frustration with her discussion with her father here, she's not. It's a good interaction, and it's kind of devastating, But yeah, she quickly mounts her horse, rides the fuck off.
Who's right behind her, baby?
Sir Kristen Cole, and got to think, it's been 3 years. This man's been tasked with guarding her. They've formed a relationship. This is a familiar Kristen Cole and Rhaenyra Targaryen.
Oh yeah, they haven't made the leap yet, though. The leap still has not been made.
I don't think it will be. I think.
Next episode, dude. They're like the next on. They're either married already, or it's just that he's standing like next to her because he's the King's Guard and like he has to guard Queen's Guard, I guess in this case, and like he's guarding the Queen. It looked like he was standing next to her as
true
her part. Like that's badass though. Like he'll be next to her no matter what.
But that's the thing is that because he's King's Guard, he's sworn that off.
Oh fuck!
That's not something he can do. He can't just get married.
But what if it's to the Queen that you're protecting, though? That's kind of like
it'd be
the ultimate. That's the ultimate
protection
oath. Instead of swearing off that you'll never marry, you're marrying the thing you were sworn to protect. So you will protect it even more.
Who knows? Maybe they make an exception for my boy, King Consort, Kristen Cole. But
dang, I didn't even think of. Fuck, they can't get married.
Nah, but my top two options now for the marriage thing coming next episode, either Valen, I think is his name, or Laenor is his name. Laenor Targaryen or Valerian. All the Valerians and Targaryens and Valens and Laemons and Laenors and oh my. But yeah, I think it's either Laenor she's getting married to or think it might, like, they make mention of a rumor, a ghastly rumor. They show a hand on a wall and a hand with a very familiar ring touching that hand on the wall. I think Rhaenyra and Daemon's little connection begins next week.
Oh. I never. Wow. It was like. Is it obvious that it's them?
It's
like
not
the ring?
obvious,
like, is it like?
But it's pretty damning. Like, I think it's Rhaenyra and Daemon's hands. And there's this mention of a nasty rumor that they've got to dispel. I don't know, man. I feel like Rhaenyra and Daemon's little something kicks off next week.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah, fuck.
It felt, I don't know. It felt like Daemon was wanting it, but Rhaenyra wasn't. Like,
I don't think she was either. I do think, however,
in this state of mind over 2 years, she's thinking she's going to lose everything.
There's someone that can really strengthen the claim for both of them, and it's each other. And the idea was tossed around this week that she marry Aegon by Otto. Otto proposes that. Viserys is like, he's 2. That can't work.
Damn. Oh, it's happening. It's happening. I didn't even think, dude.
I don't think it'll be romantic. I don't think it'll be romantically driven. I think Rhaenyra will be like...
But they were steamy fucking? In Hand on the Glass Titanic style?
I mean, hand on the concrete wall.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was I thought it was glass and like steam.
Oh, yeah, like,
for some reason, I don't know why I had that image in my head.
Sex scene in your head.
Yeah, I don't know why I had that image in my head. But
no, it was
okay, just on a concrete wall.
Yeah, stone wall.
So it's like just literal. It's not romantic sex. It's just to get her pregnant with the Targaryen baby.
Thinks it has potential. I don't want it. However, I expect it. Alas, she gallivants off on her horse, Sir Criston Cole, following closely behind. When eventually, they come to a stop, and she vents, and he's like, "Oh, you know, what if I kill Jason? How'd that go? You down for that?" And it really sets her back for a little bit, and she's all good. And she suggests a leisurely stroll through the Kingswood, and she complains about being toothless. And he says that, you know, her choosing him for the King's Guard was the highest honor his family had ever seen, and all that he has, he owes to her. Now, I'd hardly call that toothless, princess. I enjoy Criston. Quite a bit. I think they will have a forbidden fruit sort of thing over the course of this show.
Now, knowing that they can't get married, there's a whole wrench in how I was thinking this season would go. I was really thinking it was just going to be them 2 versus the fucking world.
Now, I imagine it would be within Rhaenyra's realm of power to go, you're relieved of your duties. You're fired. Now marry me. You know, like, I don't think that's...
Keep the armor. You're fired. You can keep the armor for, you know, since you did it great.
That's true. He was rocking the armor up on whatever that altar.
But no, I mean, it could legitimately be that. Like, you're fired. You're no longer a King's Guard. But do they get to keep their armor whenever they retire?
Feels like that would be the courteous thing to do.
Yeah, so they keep their armor anyways. They're probably buried with it, you know, or something.
Yeah,
so like
they're
keep
supposed
it.
to do it till they die. They're not supposed to.
So he can keep the armor. He can wear it, but not be a King's Guard.
True,
and just be the husband that likes to wear armor because protection.
Amen. One can hope, but all the meanwhile, King Viserys and a lot of a lot of dudes are on the trail of a white hart, which is believed to be a good omen for Aegon's name day. It's like, hey man, I don't know about the gods and shit, but this is if there was any sign of like, yeah, this is good, a white hart is it.
Dude was trying to sell Aegon to be heir so hard because I think that was the guy that was like talking to Otto or whatever, right? That was like,
well, that was straight up Otto who said that.
Oh, really?
Who said, like,
the good omen stuff? Oh, I think it was whenever they were getting out initially or something like that. One of the dudes in the crowd was like, all hail Aegon, the second of his name, the rightful heir, or like something.
That was
like
another
that.
Lannister.
Okay.
But yeah, you're spitting facts. They're many are riding for Aegon for sure. But Jason Lannister goes ahead and sleazes on up to the king during one of the meals and is like, "Here is a giant poking device that I have forged. It's made of gold and silver and many a great thing." And he said it feels like a fitting thing to kill the heart. Then he goes, now, since Rhaenyra's no longer seeming to be the heir, and Viserys is like, fuck you. Back the fuck off. I'm going to take that pokey thing, though. That's kind of dope. Get the fuck off my doorstep.
Thanks for the gift. Kind of cool, actually. Well, I'm not going to lie. It looks pretty sick.
But you are supposed to avoid any talks of rebellion. I thought that was up to you. And he's like, rebellion? I don't... this sounds like rebellion, kid. He's like, okay, so sorry. And he was like, yeah, let anybody else know that if this is how they're feeling, they're all sorts of fucked.
Mm.
But
yeah, I've been seeing the screenshot everywhere of Viserys saying, "I am your king," and then the Tyrion Lannister, a man who says that he is the king is no king. You know, like I've been seeing that like everywhere for in between this episode. But I'm not gonna lie, he's kind of, he feels more like a king this episode. Like he's using his power like he should this episode. And like even before he gets drunk, you know, and just does king shit when you're drunk, you know, whatever.
Hey, he didn't. This was the most we've watched dudes get drunk in Game of Thrones. This is the most accurate dude gets drunk thing I've ever seen. Homie goes to the bonfire and he contemplates life. He enters sad boy hours.
No drunk rampage murdering people, straight up in the bonfire alone. The king alone staring into the bonfire. Sad boy hours.
I mean, Allison even walks up to him and is like, "My king," and he's like, "Hey man, I'm not over my dead wife.
I'm instantly roping you into this. I've been waiting for you to walk up. This is the point of me standing here alone.
I have had nothing but thoughts in this noggin." But yeah, I was like, this was my favorite Viserys episode, and it's like not even close. Like this was
with all this politics. I just will celebrate my baby
all this
boy.
Fucking politicking. He killed that shit. And you know what I fucking forgot again? Favorite character, favorite scene, favorite line. I forgot all of it. I always forget. But regardless, Viserys doesn't take kindly to the idea of Rhaenyra not being thought of as the heir. And Otto goes ahead and slides on up to his monarch and is like, I had a thought. A query I might pose to thee. What dost thou think of the potentiality of Rhaenyra wedding the 2-year-old? Yeah, we can kill a couple birds with one stone, homie. Let's do this shit. And Viserys is like, are you fucking for real?
Dude just turned 2.
Well, and I like that that's his beef.
Yeah, not that they're
half brother and sister.
I mean, his previous wife was his cousin,
and his mom and dad were brother and sister.
It's not really that far off for him.
No, it does. It seems not, but you can tell that's something he's also like. He's not entirely in love with that idea. Like, I think there is a little bit of a. It seems to me that there's a little bit of a distaste anytime someone suggests he marry someone of his blood. Like, I almost feel like he saw his parents and was like, "Oof, I'm good."
I would say that's fair. You know, it would be kind of immediate to think that, like, if you're an incest baby, you'd probably be more okay with it. But, like, you see that every day. And then, like, if you have a sibling, it's just way weirder. Like, yeah, I think he doesn't seem to like it. You're right. Like, he does have that very intense reaction to it every time.
Instantly dismiss it or anything. He's never like, "Oh, that's my blood you're talking about," you know? He never goes all that direction with it or anything, but anytime it's been posed to him, it just so happens that he's not of the keenest mind on it. He ends up marrying Hightower. There's just a few things that kind of that. I mean, regardless. Yeah, Viserys is like, that's a foolish idea, my friend. I'm gonna go ahead and get drunk as fuck. And meanwhile, out in the woods, Christian has built a fire. He's taken off the armor. He's getting nice and cozy. The princess is like, "Yeah, I don't intend on returning to the party. It's not in my plans. It's not something I intend to do tonight." And Christian's like, "Shh! I've heard a rustle in the wood." He heads on out there, and a boar just trucks through him. And I would like to point out that Rhaenyra survives this boar attack, and Robert Baratheon perished at a boar attack. That's my queen.
I mean, you could say a lot about Robert. That man just did not seem the most athletic or able to kill a wild creature on top of him. But Rhaenyra, she didn't hesitate here. It was damn. The only time of the episode where I'm like, dang, that CGI kind of was a little. The blood on her face, was like, I don't know. It was the only time that it wasn't really good throughout the episode. Oh, no, I could just tell. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of, the blood splatter, it just seemed like it literally was like blood splatter image paste on her forehead. I don't know.
Okay. So it all just kind of hit her at once, and you're like, "Oh, I see. I see." I thought the blood spurt was just so powerful.
Not that it was so much. Yeah, no. It was the literal blood on her forehead that just didn't look like photoreal.
Gotcha,
it just looked. It just
yeah, but she takes out every ounce of anger she has in her body on this boar. Goes ahead and grabs her dagger and just. She goes full butcher mode, just cutting that hoe up. Very cathartic, I expect, for Rhaenyra. But
she needed that.
She did. She needed something of this sort. But back at the camp, drunk Viserys is like, "All right, time for the bonfire." So sad. So alone. And then Alicent pulls up, all pregnant and shit. And he starts sobbing. He starts crying. He's like,
"My wife."
So, here's the thing. There's been so many writers in my family, but there's only been a few dreamers, and I remember that dream so vividly. And that's what kind of blows about this, is that it's like there's part of him that, like, and he clearly feels bad because it is this prophecy, it is this vision that led him to his guilt of Queen Emma dying. He's like, it was my obsession with this dream, this prophecy that got Queen Emma killed. And I was like, I hadn't even considered that in his motivations for putting her through all of that hell over the course of their several failed pregnancies.
Was the nurses reacting to her childbirth being easy? Was that actually because it was like very, very hard on her? Is that the reaction? Like, is that the reason they reacted that way? Or is it because she's speaking of it in front of Rhaenyra?
I don't know. Maybe it was like she was kind of lying about how easy it was, but
because maybe like this next one, like if he's mentioning like my obsession with this prophecy got my last wife killed, I already have another baby in you. Like I'm doing it again. You know, he feels like I don't know. I don't know if they're leading towards like
Gotcha. No, I think he's just kind of the mind that everything he's done for the last several years was for naught. Like he's very like, what have I even done? Was any of it worth it? A very, very drunk man.
True.
Have I done the right thing with my life though? Is this what things are? That's kind of where Viserys is at, and you know, he says, I thought Rhaenyra was the way out of my abyss of grief and regret, and naming her heir would begin to set things right. And then I was kind of like, I kind of fucks with the fact that this man's willing to, you know, let himself cry a little bit. He is drunk. He is drunk as fuck. I think that's helping. But he's not too locked up emotionally. He's willing to express himself and tell his wife how he's feeling. Which is, you know, good for him.
Oh.
Mental health is important, and I think Viserys is aware of that. He has no interest in becoming a mad king. But yeah, Alicent tries to comfort him, but he's not even. He doesn't hear a word she's saying, man. He's just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I feel nothing but guilt. I've done nothing right. And the horn sounds. The heart has been cornered. And so he stumbles off to kill some deer. He pulls on up, but we find that this is not the white hart. We find that it is not a white beast, but instead a large brown stag. Yeah, it's not white, Your Grace, but that's a big bitch. She'll do. And now the symbolism of this.
Yeesh.
Of this sort of, you can tell there's a relief, and you can tell there's a disappointment in Viserys. This sort of like, oh, and it felt like it was an interesting moment. I want to know what you make of it as far as the purpose it serves.
I feel that in his dream, the one he's obsessed with, he sees his son seated on the throne with, you know, the crown, the dragon, you know, his whole dream, his son. And he thinks that, like, he named Rhaenyra his heir before he had a son. Now he has a son, and he's like, maybe my dream is true. You know, he's second guessing himself, and he wants to believe that his dream is still right, even though he's expressing that he wants Rhaenyra to remain heir. He still wants his dream to be right because that's what then all the guilt will go away if it was all worth it in the end. You know, if this Aegon is true to be king. So he expects, you know, the good omen thing. It's like, okay, it's going in the right way. You know, my dream is still alive. And then like, it's like, oh,
I need to let go.
Like, oh, it's like, oh, it's not Like it's not the white stag, white what are they?
Heart, white
heart. It's not the good omen, like if this dream were real, the gods that would have been a white hart, and like everything is not pointing in the direction of Aegon, but he wants it to. That's how I feel like he was very disappointed that it was not a white hart. Like
I see. I read that differently. I read it as relief that it wasn't a white hart, that his mistakes had led him to the correct conclusion. That at the very least, he got it right that Rhaenyra should be heir.
Okay. I kind of watching his reaction now. Oh.
And that's the thing.
Okay.
It's very well acted, and it's pretty. It's got a little bit of ambiguity to it. It can go a couple ways, but I think it's kind of a mix of the two. Like I think there's a few thoughts that go through his head. That sort of disappointment that his vision had never come to bear. That's not something he wants to even really come to bear anymore. And then he realizes that he's okay with what has resulted of this.
He looks more embarrassed than anything.
And frankly, he should. This was a bitch ass way to hunt. That's the only reason I thought that Viserys might be done for, is because I thought he would do the hunting. And shout out to Trenton for putting that in the chat a little bit ago, how they hunt like some bitches. And I agree. I was kind of disappointed with that. Wasn't the most
makes sense for a king. You don't want to put them in the danger, so you just have them make the kill to say that they did the hunt. But damn, this is how it was done.
Right.
And then to not have it work the first time.
Ooh. Yeah, I felt like that was just kind of I think this has been kind of reflective of what his time as king has kind of been. The work has been done by others. And whenever it's time for him to make the choices, he's indecisive. He can't quite get the job done. He's not the king he should be. I feel like that's kind of he's trying his best, and it's just, I don't think he's done what he set out to do. He hasn't been another Jaehaerys.
Dang. He's not a dreamer. He just wants to be a dreamer.
But yeah, this shit was hard to watch. This shit actually did make me tear up, just because I was like, God damn, this is hard to watch. Just like the squealing and stuff from the animal, the suffering it went through. It was just, whew. And I appreciate that Viserys never once seemed to be like even whenever like the hunt was coming. I think that's part of his whole thing earlier, where he's like, not even I stand above tradition. I have to go kill this motherfucker. You think I have any interest in doing that? Fuck no. I don't want to do that. It's a fucking living creature, and I kind of fuck with that guy. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, he was never okay with it. And I got that vibe from him for sure. He did not like doing this. Whether it was just through the embarrassment of it not being a white hart, or, whatever, not just that, he did not like the act of doing it.
No, he was not cool with the fact that he had to do this. And that's why I think his conversation with Rhaenyra earlier was so damn important. The whole, not even I stand above tradition. You will be wed. You will marry. This is something that will happen. And her being like, nah, fuck no. I loved the way in that scene earlier too, that he let go. He lost it a little bit, and everyone listened, and Otto was like, Your Grace.
Hey, yo, what's up, dude?
Perhaps we rein it in front of everybody. This does not reflect on you in the most positive way. Incredibly with the times sort of perspective that he's bringing to the table there. And I think it might be a little bit of a bad omen for the whole, like, not even I stand above tradition. What does tradition state about the rightful heir? You know, what does tradition state about all that sort of thing? Like, not even I stand above tradition. It's like, I think that's kind of pointing us in the direction that once he's dead, the realm is going to be kind of like, didn't matter what he said. He doesn't stand above tradition.
Dang. Oh. Oh. They're going to use his own words against him.
Sort of vibe.
Dang. I mean, it's going to happen no matter what.
I could see Otto literally turning that, like telling Alicent.
Oh, dude, yeah, there's definitely going to be like a court.
Human.
It's going to be in court. Like, they're going to be like, and he's for sure going to say that. Even in the king's own words, he said he doesn't even stand above tradition, yet he names Rhaenyra as his heir. We were all against it initially, the whole council. Yeah. Wasn't the steward or the Grand Maester, is that what they're called? The people, like the librarian?
Yeah.
Wasn't
Maester.
he the one that was like, your obvious heir is your daughter, right? Like your firstborn. Like, wasn't it like them that introduced the idea?
It was actually Otto.
Really?
Otto was the first one to go, Rhaenyra should be heir. Because at the time...
What did the Maester say after? I think they said like, I think they said like, there's nothing written that states it can't be a female or whatever.
Well, and there's also the fact that the Maester has chimed in a little bit more about the matters of marriage than he has the matter of who the heir was. It kind of seemed like nobody was keen on the idea when Otto posed it at the King's Council, though. It kind of seemed everybody was like, I mean, I guess if we gotta, but shit. However, back to the subject at hand. Yeah, he kills this poor little brown stag, pretty large, I should say, not little compared to the white hart we see in a moment, as we see Rhaenyra and Criston camping on a cliffside, and the white hart approaches. And we got mention earlier of how prior to the dragons, the white hart was the symbol of royalty. Its appearance is supposed to foretell greatness.
Greatness in the relationship between them. They are a match made in heaven.
I think it means that like the universe wants Rhaenyra on the throne.
Yeah. Maybe. Damn. Maybe like it doesn't happen, and that's why it all falls. Like every like, this is it, as is tradition, you know, the white hart comes to the usually, you know, like it's a good omen. I guess it doesn't happen probably like every time there's a king, you know, like an heir or whatever. But maybe this was what the universe wanted, but maybe the realm didn't grant.
Trenton's pointing out that maybe there's something in this episode that was about kids in relation to the White Hart. And if Criston Cole and Rhaenyra Targaryen were to have a baby, maybe that's the foretold greatness. Maybe Rhaenyra's child alone with, God forbid, Daemon.
That's what I was gonna say. I had like like if Rhaenyra's with Daemon strictly for power's sake and strictly for claim's sake, but romantically with Criston, they both do it. Who's to really know who the father is, you know, of who, you know, and the baby comes out with dark hair. Like, that is like the ultimate, like, Daemon will then be like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I see it, like, I see it happen. I see their kid coming out with black hair. Somehow, well, no, because I guess Jon. Who's Jon's? Like, how does Jon have black hair?
Jon's mom is Lyanna Stark.
Yeah. Okay, so like there is just a chance. Like at that time, they just had it wasn't like a pure. Yeah, he wasn't pure Targaryen. Duh. I don't know. I see the baby coming out with dark hair. I just see it happening, and then like it causing internal conflict and all that would happen after that.
I tend to agree.
But
I could foresee something like that happening for sure.
They are getting together. They're pushing it so hard. Like, and Rhaenyra's like, well, I'd rather be here with you, and she was like wanting him to make a move, like she was. I don't know if that boar would not have attacked.
Who knows what happens this night?
She didn't want to return to camp at all and wanted to be with him all night. I don't know, man.
Much to think about, but how duty bound is Criston Cole? What's the breaking point? When's the point coming?
How Obi-Wan is he? Dude, that's his Duchess,
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Right.
Come on, man. You break the rules. You break the rules for that one. We all know Obi-Wan did. I
fear that one day Rhaenyra and Criston Cole might come to be opposed to each other. His duty is to the crown, after all, not necessarily directly to her. And if he is so strictly duty bound,
but she's the reason he's there. If it was anyone else, he wouldn't have gotten picked. He even said that to her. He said, everything that I have and now I owe to you.
I just don't trust anyone, Joe. It's in this show, it's not safe.
This guy's good. This guy's the only good guy we got right now. I'm certain. They haven't had anything. This is the highest honor. He is like, his family is so proud of him. They're not corrupt. At least, they're just kind of highborn, and they're just kind of like, they're there. They don't have any like claim to the throne, so they don't have that.
Let me ask. He's been with Rhaenyra for 3 years or so, something like that. Mm-hmm. Who's to say Otto and the Queen haven't gotten his ear and go, keep us updated. Let me know what she's got going on.
The Kingsguard protects even the secrets of the Queen. It's his duty.
All right. I respect you riding for Criston Cole. I'm just saying, I'm riding for him. I trust him for now. There's been nothing that truly gives me that indication. I'm just preparing myself for heartbreak.
My heart will be broken harder, I know, because I'm trusting him so hard. I will not give him a shadow of a doubt until it is known and on the screen in front of me. Himself doing something wrong. Like, I'm not gonna. He can't do anything wrong right now in my mind. He's good. I don't know. He's the Jon Snow of this show. He's gonna be the one that comes out on top somehow at the very end. I don't know how, but he will.
He'll figure that shit out. But when everyone returns to the Red Keep, Otto visits Alicent, and he's like, I think if Rhaenyra becomes queen, we're all fucked. I think all this shit burns the fuck down. What do you think, Alicent? He's like, I don't give a shit what you think, Alicent. How about I tell you this? We were putting Aegon on the throne. She's like, but everyone swore that they're like, Princess Rhaenyra, woo, 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 our house among them, father. But he's still like, that don't fucking matter. Go ahead and go tell him this is something he needs to do. He needs to sway his mind over to the Aegon side of things. And Alicent, I think Emily Carey's been doing a really, really good job in this role thus far. I think she plays this really well, where it's kind of like she looks physically ailed at the idea of what she's about to do, you know.
She does not like. She's getting. It's getting easier though.
She's not tearing up her fingers and shit.
It's getting a little easier on her.
It'll stop.
And I feel like that's how it starts. Is like you're one to never be like that, but you start like you're forced into that situation, and then that's your way of life. Like it just becomes her way of life eventually, and it's just how she lives. And what will it eventually do is it'll backstab Otto. Like through his own making, he will backstab himself, like through his daughter. I feel like, because she's only going to get more pissed at him for making her live that life, and he's only making her better at it by teaching her all the backstabby things that she's doing already.
It's like Littlefinger and Sansa.
Yeah, like he's fucking himself eventually. I don't know. I feel like Allison is the one to kill Otto if he does die. I feel like Allison's the one to do it. Maybe not directly, but pulling some strings to make it happen.
I feel you. But yeah, I worry about the future of the High Towers over there. But she makes her way on over to chat with Viserys, who is super hungover. His head's pounding. He's like, "That wine was good," and she's like, "You had plenty," and he's like, "I did. Oh, I did." And he's
Indeed.
like, Jason Lannister really wasn't a good choice for Rhaenyra. That was kind of on me. That was a bad look. Yeah, fuck that one up. Fumbled the bag. But he's also had a letter from the Sea Snake's brother asking the king for aid. Because Daemon and Corlys are losing the war, and Viserys is not inclined to help, pointing out that the two men started the war out of spite. They did this because I wouldn't help. They wanted to make me look weak. And she frames it in a different way, saying, "Is it better for the realm if the crab feeder continues, or if he stopped?" And I was like, "Okay, Allison, that's like a really..."
She's getting like philosophic on him.
Yeah,
she was like,
she's
all
like,
right.
Forget the politics for a second. Is it better for the crab feeder to be gone? And he's like, God damn it. Yeah. God damn, yeah. Yeah, it is. Shit. All right. Shout out to you. But yeah, he decides he's going to go ahead and send aid. And shortly after, he gets into a little spat with Rhaenyra. She knows that she's like, I know what all this is. I know what's going on. I know what you're doing to me. I'm just a piece of cattle you can sell off because you no longer need me. You got the son you've been wanting for all these years. Just why the fuck would I care anymore, Dad? And he's like, I do not seek to replace you, child. I wish to see you contented, happy even. And so he tells her to make her own match, finding somebody she will love the way he loved her mother. And then just before she leaves, he swears to her, on your mother's memory, he will not supplant her for succession of the throne. And, I appreciate Viserys here. I think he means it. Which is what makes it harder to believe.
He wants to mean it. He was like,
I think
after she walked away, it showed his face, and he was like, man, I think I just lied to my daughter. Like, or like he's contemplating if he is right. I think, like maybe not. Like, I think right now in his head, he's like, yeah, I made the right decision. Rhaenyra is the heir. I can't come back on it. But he's like questioning, am I right? Like, is it Aegon? Like, I don't know. I felt like there was some question there still. Some internal something.
Yeah, I think he even says it, I wish to see you contented and happy. I think, and we've heard it in other episodes, sometimes he fears his own daughter more than he fears anyone else in the realm. I think these combinations of things are going to lead to him continuing to tell her what she wants to hear. And maybe not being 100% honest with her. which is a bad precedent to set. But yeah, that was it's hard. It sucked. But that's the last we get of them for the episode as we head back to the Stepstones, where Corliss's brother, I believe this is Vaymond Valerian, is on the verge of mutiny, blaming Daemon for the crab feeder's success and near certain victory. And then and Daemon walks on up all silent and shit, and so too does a messenger, arriving with the news of Viserys' imminent help. And Daemon reads the letter in silence, and it is this point and on that he does not have a line the rest of the episode. He reads it. He giggles a little. All right, I'm going to beat this man to death. I think that's the conclusion we should be led to believe here. I think he beats this dude to death with his helmet. Not literally, figuratively, shot the messenger. Then, he goes, you know what? Fucking fine, guys. I'm done. If I die, I fucking die. I'm going over there. Goes on over to the crab feeder's territory, rips off a piece of white fabric that's nice and nearby, nice and handy. Little, rips that off. Well, it's in a perfect shape.
It is a requirement for all battle to have white fabric in case of surrender.
Yeah, true.
It is a rule of war that must be followed, and obviously these men follow the rules of war here.
The young man in the steel coat stands on a parapet. He waves the white flag. And it's, I'm like, okay. Sus a little. I don't trust this. And neither do they. They all knock their arrows up there, nice and ready for whatever is to come. And he kneels down, offering his sword to the crab feeder's men. And they're all ready. They're still ready. However, not ready enough. He pulls the dagger, stabs this dude in the leg, slices him up nice and good. And hundreds of fighters shoot arrows at him. And I don't think we've seen such a badass display of swordsmanship since Jon Snow at, the Battle of the Bastards, the Battle of Hardhome. We haven't seen swordsmanship this badass since Jon Snow.
This was a moment of, we're back, baby. Like, this is...
And it leads me to further questions, as this is the most Jon Snow-esque scene. I know he's a Targaryen, but we haven't considered what his direct lineage might be. Is there something that is Daemon, perhaps, a distant grandfather? Potentially.
So it's Lyanna Stark and who was it Aegon the Fifth?
Rhaegar Targaryen.
Oh, Rhaegar.
Aegon the Fifth was their dad. Was Daenerys...
Aegon the Fifth.
Aegon the Fifth was the Mad King.
Okay. So no. So Rhaegar, it's probably known, the whole family. Like, if we look it up,
we would be able to find out. I just don't want to do that because I don't want to have any indication as to who has kids with who. I don't want any of that. I like being in the dark. But regardless, I just thought this was wildly familiar. This man's got the running form. This man is sprinting. Homie's doing the zigzags.
Just slicing and dicing.
And
going through these people. Like
butchering these dudes.
Like, he's not all talk, he's got skill.
He's a bad motherfucker, man. Again, this was my favorite episode for Viserys. This was also my favorite episode for Daemon. I felt like there was a growth that all of them undertook over the course of this episode. I think there's something different about them at the end of this episode than there was at the beginning. I think they're all assured in themselves, and I find myself in a completely different spot with Viserys than you seem to be. I think he's certain Rhaenyra is what he wants. I think he has made his peace that Rhaenyra is the future of his house. That is who he has decided is heir, and so it shall be. I think Rhaenyra is assured of herself and her capability of becoming the heir, and her capability of being that queen, as long as she gets to pick her king consort. I think Daemon is officially more assured in himself than ever that he's the baddest motherfucker alive.
Okay. I don't know if I am just straight up missing the point. Why does Daemon kill that messenger? Like, because the note is read at the end, and it's Viserys actually sending him help. Like, right? Like,
Daemon
it's not
is so prideful
that he wants to do it before the help gets there.
Yes, that's the only reason he takes these steps.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Like, I'm like, is it just that he wants to take credit for all of this?
He now feels patronized.
But like, because he wasn't the one who asked for help.
He was
someone went. So, now it's clicking. It's because like he was offended that someone else asked for help and didn't think that he was handling it well enough, as well as like he wanted to be the one to do it. I think like because he didn't know that someone asked for help. Probably this was his first indication of someone asked for help and the king said yes.
So it was also a little message to everyone around. Hey, just so you know, I don't fuck with this, and here's what I'm gonna do about it. And that's what makes this the most badass shit that's happened in this show so far.
You don't think I have the situation handled?
How about I go end this shit right now? And I don't think he counted on the help of the Velaryons. I think he went in there expecting he might die. Thinking, I'll either get the crab feeder myself or I'll die trying. I'm not going to let Viserys...
better motivation than
I will not let Viserys take credit for the win. That's all it is. It is still pettiness that is leading him to this spot. And regardless, he's badass as fuck with it. He does get caught with a couple arrows. He has to go and take cover. And then they keep swarming. You know, they keep surrounding him. And it was very, very Battle of the Bastards-esque. Very reminiscent. And he stands his ground, ready to fight everyone if the need be. But then Corlys's army pulls up, and they're ready to attack the circle from behind. Another very similar structure to Battle of the Bastards. And then the music dies out, everything goes silent, and all you hear is this nice little dragon wing flap with the crab feeder subtly the whole time looking up, them showing us the back of his head the whole time. And then it finally is here. It is sea smoke with the rider Laenor on his back.
Laenor
Velaryon.
So
this is who it was proposed Rhaenyra marry from the Velaryon family.
I didn't know that anyone could ride a dragon that wasn't a Targaryen. Like, I just thought that they would not allow it.
They're Valyrian, which I think is the key.
So, do Targaryen, like, Valyrian is even more ancient than Targaryen, right? Like, that they came before. So, like...
Well, I don't know about the family history. I'm assuming so because it is the island of Valyria, and they are called the Valerians.
So, but... They make it seem that like the blood. I guess I guess the first Targaryen to come over would have been from Valyria.
Well, there's also the fact that
so they are Valyrian.
There is also the fact that Laenor is half Targaryen.
Oh, that's okay. Well, they're
his mom is Rhaenys.
But say a full-blooded Valyrian. Does that even exist anymore?
Probably.
Full pure-blood Valyrian? Would Corlys be...
I'm guessing that they're Valyrian. Like, I'm guessing that they're Valyrian through and through because I think the Targaryen... there's someone in the history of the Targaryen family that was outside of the Targaryen family. They're not all incest bred. But Regardless, yeah, he is at least half Targaryen, so there is that fact as well. His mother is Rhaenys, and he's got the pimpest dragon so far for me. I think Sea Smoke is my favorite.
Oh, that's their son.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay, wow. Yeah, that just... Wow, I'm wondering, like, who is this? I thought it was just some random, like, I was watching, and I'm like, I was trying to figure out who this was for the longest time, and I can't believe it took that long.
Yeah, he's Corlys and Rhaenys' son, and he hasn't been brought up because he hasn't been relevant, like, the king, Viserys, was not very well going to go marry Laenor. So it didn't, he did make an appearance in the first episode, however, in the box up top where they're all watching the tournament. Him and his sister make some appearances. But
wow, okay. Took way too long for that to click though.
just a bit.
God.
But yeah, this was my favorite dragon so far. I think he just looks the coolest. I will say we got some classic dragon riding CGI whenever we zoomed in on Laenor, which I was like, frankly, I kind of fuck with. It made me feel like we're back in Game of Thrones. Like, it reminded me exactly that, oh yeah, this is going to look weird. There's no way.
What would it really look like,
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, well, yeah, it looks like the really weird CGI. But then I'm like, well, wait a minute. What would that really look like, Like, is that what it would... I don't know. You could just tell that, I don't know, something's off, but what is it that's off? Is it just
For me, I think it's the lighting. I think it's just kind of
like just obviously blue screen, or like that's what it is.
I think it is, and I don't have beef with it. I think it's fine. Like, there's only so much you can do for a guy riding a dragon. Like, I don't have beef with it, but yeah, I think it's noticeable that he's sitting in front of a blue screen on top of one of those giant green bull riding things. That they developed for Game of Thrones, but that's only because I know the behind the scenes shit, like I'm thinking about that.
But you can tell that there's something wrong with the shot though.
Right. Whenever he was like, whoa, and they like showed him, I was like, that gave me some real The Force Awakens vibes. Like whenever Poe swings in and he's just fucking shit up, and they're like Finn's like, that's a damn good pilot. Like, I feel like everyone watching Laenor right here is just like, man, he really fucking that shit up.
That would be sick to be like fighting and then see a dragon come to your aid and just like, how, I don't know. Like, if I had to fight like during this time, I'm not a fighter to begin with, but like, goddamn, it would suck to have to fight during this time. But if you had a dragon behind you, I'll be on the front lines if I got a dragon behind me during this time period. Like, I don't know. That is just some of the most badass shit ever.
Yeah, he's smooth with it. He's smooth with it up there. But Daemon spots the crab feeder retreat into his cave amidst all this chaos, and he sprints right in there. He's ready, and as they wreak havoc outside, we don't get to bear witness to the fight that occurs in here. Hey, crab feeder didn't fuck around. I'll tell you that. Yo, this man gave him a run for his money. And frankly, I'm kind of disappointed we didn't see it, but it also kind of made it really badass. It made a really cool reveal.
You think like they'll ever show it, or you think it's just not like he went in there, he did his work, and like that's it? Like, do you think we ever actually see?
That's a good point. I guess I don't know.
Because I feel like they had history and there's still more to be touched on there. I don't know if they like bring up their history together, him calling him out by first name. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's just something more there. And maybe it's through maybe it's through who sent him, and learning through who sent him, we see him talk to whoever, and then it leads into more flashbacks up until it's like the present time of, I don't know. But I feel like they don't really do that in this show. They don't really flash back and then like play things up to time. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't feel like,
unless there's some like timeline altering epic shit that gets discussed in there. Like, the only way that would be something that got touched on again is if Dreyhart is a Targaryen. And I'm not in that camp, you know, like, otherwise I think it really was just to show us some really awesome dragon action and then show that Daemon is a bad motherfucker. We didn't bear witness to this 1v1. However, it's clear who won.
I mean, yeah, he is in thirds. I mean, like,
he's dragging.
Is that a half?
Though.
I guess it's like a third. It's like almost a clean cut in half. That's pretty, like,
over the shoulder.
That's
yeah, he cut right through the crab feeder and disemboweled, guts everywhere. He lets him know, I ended this shit. Now he only ended this stuff in the stepstones. I do think that they were sent there by someone else. Who? I don't know. But I'm not certain that this was all of the crab feeder's volition. I'm not sure that they were just like, you know what? Yeah, fuck it. Let's do this shit.
Attacking the shipping lanes and the most powerful navy in the entire world. Yeah, that's not something you do on a whim.
I wouldn't think.
And a guy, and like they're seated on, like, you know, the dude is on the council, like like directly related to the king. Like you're angering the crown. That is the goal of this. But who? I feel like the Starks is a good. I feel like that's just a cool way to have the Starks involved too. Like, the Starks are the one that fucking. Even though they've
never trusted Southerners, man. They don't fuck with the South. They're up there like, yo, winter is coming, dude. We've got to be ready for that shit, dude.
Ooh, maybe the Starks like buy into the Targaryen dream. They're like, yeah, actually, we believe in the threat of the winter, and
they don't know that they don't know that the Targaryens have that.
Well, I know, but I feel like maybe that's what, I don't know. Like, maybe Ned would have been like the first Stark to have been told the dream, like, protect this child. He needs to be on the throne in order to save the, this is the dream that Aegon had, or whatever.
I can see it.
He is the dream. This is the kid.
I suppose Rhaegar would have been the heir. So it would make sense for Jon's dad.
Oh, true. It would. It's not every Targaryen knows. It's just
the heir.
The heir that knows. Yeah. Damn. But Rhaenyra knows she is an heir. What? I guess you only have to be heir for a day, really, or like once you're named, you're told, and then like Rhaenyra doesn't have to be seated on the Iron Throne. So like, it's not. I mean, it's not that far off that maybe he knows.
True.
But
no, yeah, but I mean, like, if Rhaegar is Jon's dad, if Rhaegar tells Lyanna that this is important because of that, not a stretch for that to be part of the little whisper. Oh yeah, and by the way, winter's coming. You got to really look out for that shit.
Yeah,
this kid's got to be on the throne, or else we're fucked. His name's Aegon, by the way. Yeah, this was a damn good episode. It ends with Daemon standing victorious, and this was just another fucking banger, man. It was another banger, and I'm so high on it. Are you ready to give it a fucking rating?
Ooh, I think I am ready. Enjoyment, man. This is we got a battle. I feel like it's kind of a baby battle as well. This was more of a display of Daemon here, and not pure boom, like two sides going at it. It felt more of like, here's Daemon chopping through everyone, and story more. Like, I feel. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why I'm like requiring that there's going to be a big battle in one of these episodes. I just feel like they know their fans and they know that people want that. There's going to be something that is grand and insane, whether it's a battle or some explosion, like the Sept blowing up or, something along those lines. Whenever that happens, whatever. I feel like this is like on the medium scale.
Yeah, this was sort of just letting us know what is possible in this show. It is only episode 3. They weren't going to blow their load here.
Was it a 10?
I find myself really, really enjoying it. I don't know if it's a 10. I think I find myself right between first episode and last episode. I think I find myself at a 9 out of 10 for enjoyment. It was I'm like really, really hype about it. I really, really enjoyed it. There's room to go up. I know that. But I do think I liked it more than last week. I have very little doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, this one, it's a 10 during, like, Damon scenes. Like, that end scene was phenomenal. And, like, I will remember. I feel like that will be, I don't know if it'll, get a name or something, but, like, the white flag, like him surrendering and going ape shit will be remembered, for a while.
Almost certainly. Yeah.
But and the rest of the episode, like, even though it wasn't all flashy and actiony, it was really good story that was going on. So like
exquisite politicking. It was top tier Game of Thrones doing Game of Thrones shit. And that's why I think the genre will benefit potentially better than it has yet.
This had the action, the politicking,
a name day celebration, a hunt, talks of who is to be the heir, who is to be wed.
2 dragons.
Couple of dragons. We got sea smoke in the mix. We got to know the Valarians a little bit more. We got Lenore in the mix for the potential wedding. A little bit development of Kristen and Rhaenyra's dynamic, the Viserys and Rhaenyra fight.
Alicent and Rhaenyra and Alicent and Otto and Alicent and Viserys. Like, Alicent, dude, I don't know. She, like, at the beginning of the episode, that, like, whenever they're telling the music dude to leave, and Rhaenyra's like, no, you'll stay. Your prince or your princess tells you to stay. And
well,
then, like, your queen. Yeah, she's like, oh, wait, well, you want to play that game?
Yeah.
All right. Like, I don't know.
It's
I think she's beginning to like it a little bit. But I don't know. I still don't want to dive into the Alicent hate. I don't want to go in there yet because I feel like she still is only been a victim as of now. Even though if she is liked it a little bit, it's still all Otto's fault from the beginning. So,
yeah,
overall,
like in every scenario in which Alicent could have been at fault, you can always trace it back to Otto or Viserys being at worse fault. Like, is it Alicent who should have gone to Rhaenyra and gone, hey, I think I'm about to be the queen? No, that's a conversation Viserys has with Rhaenyra. You know what I'm saying? She questions whenever Otto tells her to go comfort the king. She's like, in his chambers, like, for real? Yeah, do that shit. Now, I'm of the mind, she did all on her own go ahead and get that dragon all fixed up by the stonemasons. I think that was all her just being real nice. And I think she had to have known the sort of effect that might have.
True.
But yeah, man, it's hard to say. I think she will only grow more and more distant from Rhaenyra. I fear that will be the case. Regardless, though, her role in this episode was fantastic. I like that character. I like what she brings to the table. You know, I think her story intrigue is just through the roof. But genre-wise, I think I do fall higher than either of the first episodes as far as medieval fantasy television. We got war, we got politics, we got drama. I'm going. This might be genre-defining Thrones. This might be 10 out of 10.
It's a pure Thrones episode. What else? I mean, what does it not have? I mean, it does have talks of incest, check mark. Dragons, check mark. War, check mark.
I guess no
Politics,
on-screen
wine.
sex scene.
Nudity, yeah, it did have nudity.
Which, frankly, I can give or take.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I feel like it's either a 9.75 or a 10 here. Like, this is.
Then I say we go genre defining with it for the medieval fantasy television. I can't think of a place where it faults in that regard. You know, like there are a couple moments that, like the White Hart, the mythic nature of the White Hart and the boar attacking Rhaenyra and stuff. Like, I think there's a lot there, and I think we got talks of prophecy and shit. Like, it's Game of Thrones out the ass. That's a 10 out of 10 Thrones episode. And with that, let's go to the critical rating, where we again have a wonderfully complete story. Again, fantastic performances, an epic action sequence. I think
they write such a good story every week.
Yeah,
like there's not a bone in my body that was like, oh man, I really wasn't fulfilled this week on the story. You know, like I am so satisfied, but still, like, how do they write a story that completely satisfies you in the week, but does not satisfy you whatsoever to like, now I need the next episode. You know, it wants you wanting more at the same time, even though it's all comfortable and all nice at the end. Like,
the writing continues to be stellar. The acting continues to be stellar. My one thing is that I don't think this is as standout visually as the first two episodes. I think the first two had, like, I can see shots in my head where I go, yeah, I remember where they were, what episode, when I was looking at it. I've watched this episode twice, and I don't think I really have a favorite shot. You know, I think there are cool moments, but there's not one. I think there's, like, the visual of Daemon emerging out of the cave was pretty cool. I thought that was badass. But other than that, that's kind of it. I did like the way Viserys was lit at the bonfire. I thought that was cool, only being lit by the fire. I also thought it was cool when he was in the tent at the feast, and it was like there was like a really reddish hue over the screen, which I really, really appreciated. It made his it like led us a little bit more into what he was feeling somehow. I felt like it was effective. And it was a hue that the show didn't take on any other parts of the episode besides when he was drunk sitting there on his little makeshift throne. And I, all in all, just really, really liked the way that part looked. But that was more color grading, less so than any, like, shots that I was like, oh, this is a gorgeous little simple shot of Viserys on his throne, you know?
I'd say this episode was way more character driven than getting a cool shot set up, and it's not that I think I'm not trying to defend it in that way of saying like it didn't need to be visually stunning, because like there could have been so many shots where they could have I felt like they could have even dealt with like the White Hart like showing up to them better. Like that was such a magical moment, and like it
was very simply and plainly shot. Yeah,
it could have they could have shown the whole picture of the White Hart, them up there on top of the mountain, zoomed way back out and like shown, because like the sky was insane during that time too. It was like a beautiful sunrise or sunset, and like I think sunrise, it was the morning. Yeah, and like it could have been like, I don't know.
I'll tell you though, Rhaenyra walking back into that camp. Ooh, that was the baddest shit in the episode. Like, that was so fucking fire. The way everyone was looking at her, like, some in disgust, some horny as fuck. There was just a little bit of everything there. in the reaction to Rhaenyra Targaryen returning to camp.
That was instantly. She's back, and then it's like the hunt's over. Back at King's Landing, like we're bam, which was
and the
sick.
boar
like,
that she murdered being carted in front of her. Like goddamn.
Her still in blood a little bit too, so everyone knows that like she
did the
killed in like full on. Oh,
another thing we get left with in the last sightings of Rhaenyra and Daemon, and a little bit of a parallel, covered in blood.
Shit.
There's a lot of things pointing to that being a strong possibility for me in the very near future. But nevertheless, I find myself story-wise potentially more satisfied than I have been any other week, and that's saying a lot considering that that's been a highlight of every week, that the story was just so damn good. I do find myself a little bit less pleased on the visual side. I do think the acting was just as good as it's been. They continue to do the damn thing. I think Matt Smith as Daemon Targaryen was a highlight this week. I mean, it's the same highlights every week. It's Rhaenyra, it's Millie Alcock as Rhaenyra Targaryen, Matt Smith as Daemon Targaryen. It's Paddy Considine as Viserys. Like, they just continue to bring it to the table in a way that I do think Viserys, we got a vulnerability out of him that we haven't got so far. I think there was a little bit more there than we've seen yet. You know, I think we've seen him down in the dumps.
We did have drunk sad boy hours with him this episode. That shows a lot into a man's soul.
That does indeed. I find myself barely below the previous episodes. I'm thinking either a 9.5 or a 9.25. I think 9.5 is fair because the story is stronger than it's ever been. I think it really was just the visuals that were a bit of a step down. And it was hardly a step down. It was still visually brilliant whenever the dragon's coming through and flaming shit up. There's a lot to like here. And you know what? The more I talk about it, the more I feel more comfortable with a 9.5. I want to hear what you're feeling.
Yeah, no, I was there. Because I'm trying to think, like, is how much more room for improvement really is there? And it really would have just been if they took a little more time and were like, all right, let's set up a beautiful shot right here. Like, that really is pretty much it. Like, that they could have done a little better. I could not have asked for a more badass Daemon moment.
I mean, the score was brilliant this week too.
Yeah, like, this is there's not much more room for improvement whatsoever, and I feel like 9.5 is fair. It averages the episode out to a 9.5, which feels, I mean, right? Like, it's about the first episode, a little bit worse on average, but like barely. It's like right on par with the first episode, which I feel is right, and it's about a point better than the last episode, which I'm right there. Like,
I'm right there as well. A 9.5 out of 10, 95% on the old tomato meter, if that's what you're into. Here on the Penny Bloom Pod, and I think that's fair. You got any last thoughts on House of the Dragon episode 3, the second of his name?
We have any more predictions rather than Daemon and Rhaenyra getting together? Is it okay? I've been saying Daemon this entire time. It's not Damien, is it?
No, it is Daemon.
Daemon. Is it spelled just with the AE?
It is. It does have the AE, but the E is not after the M. It is Daemon. It's not Damien. It is Daemon.
Daemon. Yeah, Daemon. Okay,
we've got it right. We definitely do.
I don't know if any other prediction that I can. Okay. I want to say that this next birth that Alicent has is gonna shake her up. Whether I think it's gonna add turmoil between her and Viserys. Whether it actually does harm to Alicent, or not. I think it'll be like her way of being like, you know what? Like, I'm done. I don't want to risk it anymore. And then it's like he's still obsessed with his dream and wanting to protect that whatever. I feel like this next birth is going to be troublesome for some reason. I just don't think they would have. I don't know what the reaction of those nurses was truly for. Like whenever she said the birth was so easy and effortless, and then they were like,
I truly think it was just a shock at how senseless she was. Like, you're saying this in front of a man whose wife died in childbirth and a girl whose mom died in childbirth. I truly think that's just come on, you got to have more self-awareness than that. I didn't read into it any more than that. I took that as everyone looking at her like, yo, come on now, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably way more true. I don't know, but other than that, I can't really think of any like from this episode that is like, oh, I guess we could say the Starks are behind the crab feeder.
I got a big overarching prediction.
Okay,
it's that Aegon II kills Viserys.
Wow.
One day.
Probably when he's older, probably in a while. So you really think Viserys lives that long for Aegon to grow up and be at an age where he kills him?
I do, and I don't think it'll be that. I think it'll be by the end of the season that he'll be at an age where that's more feasible. I think that if there was a point, it feels right now that this week would have been the week to kill him if it was going to be early.
Fair. When's the jump from young Rhaenyra to old?
I think it's between 4
midway?
and 5. I think it's between 4 and 5.
Oh, between 4 and 5. Okay, so 6 episodes with old Rhaenyra.
I think so.
Is that just your best guess, or you know that she's?
I'm fairly certain I've read that that's going to be when the jump is. I can't remember if it's between 4 and 5 or between 5 and 6, or if it's in the middle of an episode. I can't remember. It's in that range though. It will be roughly half the season spent with both of them. And that won't be the only actress who's got a new actor. Alicent won't be acted by Emily Carey after a certain point. There's a couple other. Oh, Lena and Laenor. I think they won't be acted by the same guys or the same people. I think Lena and Laenor will eventually be recast into into an older version of themselves.
Interesting. I mean, Viserys is casted for all 10. So
yeah, but they're also not going to tell you before the show's over that it's only in 8 or 9.
Well, Rhaenys is in 9. I guess she just wasn't in this one, so it is now.
It is now 9. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So it is update. So they do. Okay.
We had this problem with Moon Knight. Every week we'd check the cast list, and every week
that's true.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, they're in 3 episodes. Now they're in 2 episodes. Now they're in 1 episode.
Yeah, that's true. Good old Moon Knight. Little higher tier than Moon Knight, I can say.
I would say the same if I had to myself, but
wow, going from Daemon and Rhaenyra getting together to Aegon kills Viserys. We got a wide range of predictions.
And my reasoning there is that Aegon will not switch his mind. He will choose Rhaenyra as his heir. Aegon will grow up to resent him for it. He will be under the influence of his mother and his grandfather.
Grandfather. Yeah, the good old. I didn't think of who the grandpappy was. Not Viserys.
Yeah, Otto.
Grandpappy. Yeah, the other grandpappy.
Because Viserys is just Pappy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just weird. Age, the gap.
Yeah, but it's hard.
Oh, if Viserys holds true in keeping Rhaenyra as heir, I really feel like he's gonna have it go to a court decision and be like, "You're not gonna make me choose between my kids."
Well, and that's the thing too, is that like it seems like next week it's already in the cards. It feels like that's what's
true.
kind of
Yeah.
happening. They've already got they've got Aegon, they've got Daemon, and they've got Rhaenyra presented. You know, the brother,
That's true.
the daughter.
Oh, I forgot about the next on. He's like, they've named me King of the Narrow Sea.
Of the Narrow Sea, which is like, so Daemon's been a pirate.
Or
since this win?
Yeah, how long, what's the gap between the end of this episode and that?
Yeah, like who knows? Maybe Aegon is like 5 next time we see him, not 2.
I don't know. It feels kind of immediate for some reason. Like, it feels like there's not much of a gap between.
Well, that's what implies to me that there is a gap. The fact that they've named me the King of the Narrow Sea. It feels like
that could have been done instantly after that battle, though. Like, that was badass enough to have been like, you did everything we could have wanted you to do. Here's your crown. Fuck,
True.
Fuck, dude. Like, I don't know. I guess it's probably at least like a month, or I don't know, something in between.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit of a time jump, but regardless, I'm fucking ready, man. Every Sunday has just been too damn good.
Yeah, vile accusation. Oh, dude, I didn't think of the accusation being them too. Like, I just thought, what could this accusation be? Like, I'm not thinking it. I don't know. I didn't think it was Daemon and Rhaenyra. Like, you're so right though, because Viserys is like, dude. And Daemon's sneaking around. He's in like stealth clothes and like, what's he sneaking around King's Landing for? Oh, I guess he was he banished? Was he told to never come back by Viserys? Or was he just said, get the fuck out?
He was told to go back to wherever his wife is. I can't remember where it was, but yeah, man.
Wow. Gotta wait another week for it, though.
Just one more.
I mean, we got 6 more episodes, though. That's nuts. 7.
7. 4, 5,
7.
6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 7 episodes left.
That's just insane. And they're jumping so much per episode. Like, we're getting, like, the span of time that we're covering is insane. We've already
seen, like, 3.5 years or something like that.
Damn. The end of the show has to be, like, the birth of Daenerys. Like, I think that's the ending point. Is, like, at the very end.
Take us all the way there?
Like, I really do. I think it's like, all right, Daenerys is born. You know what happens from here. Like, we'll tell you everything in between. Like, I think we do get some backstory on like, Ray, like, Jon. Like, we get the full lineage. Like, I think this is just a family tree of the Targaryens, and it follows every Targaryen.
Man,
there's not that many of them, you know? Like,
I think it'd be awesome. I think I see more potential in us getting up to Aegon's birth, the Mad King, and then getting a Robert's Rebellion spinoff.
Okay. So I guess that would make more sense for it not to happen in the show. Or it just focuses on the Targaryen history and that's it of this show. And then the Robert's Rebellion is kind of like the Arrow and Flash, you know, kind of like, yeah, they're going on at the same time, but you got to go to the other show to watch it sort of thing, you know? Right. I mean, I don't really think HBO is going to go down that route, but like releasing at the same time. But I mean, this is like what? They've already confirmed season 2. Yeah. Like it's supposed to be 3 or 4. Is that the idea?
Yeah,
or like
the book can supposedly take it 3 to 4 seasons.
Is the pace that they're going here matching the pace of the book?
That's my thing. No, like they've got to be skipping shit.
Like, are we sure that it's 3 to 4? Like, or is it only these 2? Like, if the book is this fast, like, holy shit. Like, it feels like they're booking it. Like, I don't know, or maybe it's just to get up to the point of old Rhaenyra, and then it slows down. And then it's like, all right, let's really dive deep into this character now and, like, show you everything they do.
I kind of take it that that's probably going to be the vibe. I think once we get to older Rhaenyra, the time jumps will be less massive. Like, she's 17 now, or 18 now, as of this episode. By the end of the season, she's at most mid-30s, and that's at the absolute oldest.
True. So, yeah, I guess it's going to slow down. I feel. I don't think it'll be like this the whole way through.
No, I don't think so either.
But if it is, I don't know. I'm cool if it goes all the way up to that far.
I don't mind. The story's been so effectively told without every little single detail. Like, I feel like there were episodes of Game of Thrones where we picked up the next day, and it was just like,
yeah.
I mean, there were little time jumps every now and then. Like, we had to pass time because someone's making their way down the King's Road or something. But
like, never this person now has a kid and pregnant with another
3 years.
And that's abnormal. But I don't know. I'm digging it so far. Like, this is.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'm not scared. Like, I'm not scared. I'm not like, oh, I hope they execute well. I'm fully comfortable. I'm sitting back and I'm watching anything they give. Like, it's in good hands. It's in good hands.
I feel you there. But yeah, man. With that, I think that Fire and Bloom, episode 103, comes to a conclusion. 'Twas a goddamn pleasure. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find over 45 hours of exclusive content. And I'm thinking if we got, it's pretty late. We'll see, but might be updating that here shortly. Regardless, it has been a pleasure. Head there. Make sure you're showing some love and support to the pod, because we desperately need it. I mean, not desperately. I appreciate it, but it does help a great deal. If you would, head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you're listening. Share this with whoever you know that is watching House of the Dragon. Tell them to catch up with us. Have them come to us, nobody else. Shout out to Trenton for being in the chat and the audience this episode. Don't know if you're still with us. Regardless, it was a pleasure, my friend. I'm sorry I didn't check it as much. It was annoying to have on the screen, and I know that's selfish of me, but I don't give a damn. And then, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
It is always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And the road ahead is uncertain, but the end is clear.